Okay, so this is one I've been meaning to get to, but Standard 22's been so good, so I haven't had a chance. So Black-White Shadow is a deck that I think is reasonable in the format in general. You've got Shadow, and you've got Vanguard and stuff to enable it. We've got Thoughtseizes and Inquisitions. We got Ranger of Eos with a little bit of a toolboxy package for it, but new cards, we've got a couple of new cards. So we got Hive of the Eye Tyrant as an evasive creature land here in the mana base. And then we've got Triumphant Adventurer here, which this is a 1/1 with Death Touch that is first strike when attacks. I'm going to explain why I think you're wrong, Tumos. So I think people don't think about these adventure cards in the proper context. So I think a card like Triumphant Adventurer doesn't need other adventure cards with it to be good. Because think about this card. Let's flip specifically to the Tomb of Annihilation here. And the way you need to think about Triumphant Adventurer in a deck like this especially is think of this as a 1/1 with Death Touch that gets first strike when it attacks, so it always gets to attack in, that the first time it attacks, it says each player loses a life, so it attacks for 2 the first time you attack with it. Then the second time you attack with it, each player loses 2 life, so it attacks for 3. And then it attacks for 3 again, and then it makes you a 4/4. So that's the way you need to think about these cards. You need to think about these cards as these ones that are constantly generating adventure as, every time I adventure, what is that getting me? Would I play a card that gets me what this is getting me when it happens? And I think the answer is yes. Not only do I think the answer is yes when it gets to be proactive like this and it hurts our life total to make our Death Shadows castable, but the Death Touch is also just good because when you're not being proactive, it's just like this removal spell, right? It's a removal spell that attacks in a pinch. And on the off chance that you don't want to lose life, you could use the Mad Mage or the Pandelver here to do other things. So I think this card, especially in the other ones that trigger every single turn, have been undervalued by a lot of people. And I think the fact that this can both enable Shadow and be a removal spell in a pinch is worth exploring. I'm not convinced that this is good enough, but I think the idea that it's automatically not good enough just based on the text box is not true. I want to play some games with it, and I think this is potentially a very reasonable Shadow enabler while also being decent in the aggressive matchups for trading off. How do you change which dungeon is shown? You right click. Pogo is great. I can't understate, if you're someone who hasn't checked out my Pogo PvP videos, how good the Pokemon Go PvP is. It's the team building in that game scratches the deck building itch very similarly to building decks in card games, and honestly, I enjoy the casual collection aspect of walking around too. It's a great excuse to get out of the house. What chances we ever get a best of 3 queue for Standard 22? Rotation, we will. I have a couple Deoxys candies. Couple, 2, 3. Death Touch Tribal, eh? To answer your question, Nitin, there's really no way to predict what Wizards of the Coast is going to do with any of their stuff. I would not expect them to add a queue anytime soon. Alright, so as good as our discard spells were there, I think I'm supposed to trim a lot of them in a matchup like this. They have a lot of flyers too, so Faerie Guidemother doesn't seem very good. I think I want more cards that play to the board. So Dire Tactics and Vanishing Verse coming in here. Fatal Push. We'll trim a Ranger, leave a third Thoughtseize in. I probably don't mind seeing one Thoughtseize per game. When you say play to the board, what does that mean? It means play cards that have an impact on cards in play. So, removal spells play to the board. Discard spells do not. So, discard spells impact cards that are not currently in play. I have the fire. Thank you for the 32 months. Welcome back. Something that's important to note about discard spells is while they're obviously a powerful effect, they're technically tempo negative. You're spending a mana to take a card from the opponent that the opponent didn't have to spend mana on. Now, you can sometimes make up that tempo negative on a discard spell by taking a card that disrupts your opponent's curve, but that's never a guarantee. Alright, so with this draw, I want an Inquisition on one, so this way I can take a memory lapse, so we can hopefully stick a Adanto Vanguard. We just take Narset here. Just kind of laughs at Helix. And like if they Helix this, I'm gonna get to take their Teferi away. Is there a historic event soon? I don't know. Not a great draw. They're probably just cycling this Triumph, right? They could have drawn a counterspell. I put this into play tapped. The Adanto Vanguards let me control my life total at will, and having more life to save these with is good. Yeah, we're definitely going to want to play Spellbinder next turn to take the Teferi away. Come on, draw your companion. Do it. Do it. Do it. Cast Wrath of God is a deal 8. Come at me. Cycle Shark Typhoon. Block. For the year and a half, Doji. Hopefully we get a historic update today. Here's hoping. This is a big part of why discard spells are not great at the moment. Huh. What did they hide?
I suppose that's how it was meant.
I mean, even Typhoon's not very good here, right? Are you crazy for thinking all the Strixhaven Mastery cards are a bad move for Historic? Yeah, I think so. I think that's pretty reductionist. I think it's hard to say whether they did more harm than good on average because, for example, this card is just as much to blame for the power level increase of a lot of things in Historic as Brainstorm is. So, like, trying to write it off as the Strixhaven Archives were the bad guy, like, ignores the reality of, like, everything that happened. Like, as we frequently say, the context is key, and, like, just chalking it up to the archives is ignoring a very key piece of context that the format should have. As is frequently the case, these decks are a sum of their parts. And while, like, this and Memory Lapse are definitely good, like, Iteration is also absurd. This card is seeing 4x play in every format in Magic, where you can play 4 of them. So, Dragonstorm actually wasn't a Mystical Archive. That was a Historic Anthology, for reference. Yeah, it's Strixhaven, but it wasn't an archive. So, I also think your point is one that shows a misunderstanding, Psionic. Like, you can't balance a card like Brainstorm by printing other cards. Brainstorm doesn't get balanced by other cards being added to the format. It's just not how it works. There aren't cards you can print that make Brainstorm not good enough. I think I play both of these to play around Helix. I know they have Wrath of God, but this makes them have Wrath of God and a second Helix, third Helix. Hey, Savage, I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's a real shame this isn't a postboard game, because these are so bad here. I think I just let this die, because I know they have another Wrath of God. I mean, there's been a lot of designs to Black Splash over the years that, like, were obviously them trying to push into fixing Brainstorm. And it's very clear that that's just not how this works. Listen, I'm gonna give you a pass and assume you're new, Toasted, but Blood Moon's a fucked up card that doesn't do anything to Brainstorm. Stop it, get some help. So for reference, just to remind people that don't know their history, the reason why they tried a card like Brainstorm in Historic was because there aren't fetch lands in this format. And there's always been this juxtaposition that fetch lands are potentially a big part of why Brainstorm is too good in formats like Legacy. And obviously there's more to it than that. Yeah, Faithless Looting's been fair and balanced. And again, just like talking about cards and the sum of the parts, like people talking about like, well, Brainstorm and Memory Lapse, the Strixhaven Archives put these decks over the top. Like, there's been this is quite possibly one of the best control finishers ever printed in Magic the Gathering in almost 30 years. It's so good. Like, so good. Alright, our Skyclave Apparitions ended up chipping away there at the end. God bless. So, Duress comes in, Selfless Savior comes in, Fracture and Noxious Grasp come in. Giant Killer's not particularly exciting. Do we keep the Apparitions in because they were good game one? Something like that. I think I like this. Does Guidemother help against sharks? No, but I also just don't have anything else on my sideboard I really want to board in over Guidemother. I guess I could board in a Vanishing Verse. It tags Shark tokens to push damage sometimes, and should they cast Shark Typhoon, it gives me 2 outs to resolve Shark Typhoon with the Fracture. Is Archon not good against them? So the problem with Archon is that our deck frequently wants to double spell. We have a lot of cheap things, and one of the ways we play through things like Memory Lapse is being able to sequence 2 spells in the same turn. So I like bringing in Archon against the Torrential Gearhulk variations of Jeskai because it turns off Torrential Gearhulk, but this opponent's playing the Companion. He says his opponent no longer has a Companion in the post-board game. So, no Companion in the post-board game. That means they have Baneslayer Angel post-board? Look at that. Alright, so Baneslayer Angel means I'm going to put more copies of Vanishing Verse in my deck for game 3, if there's a game 3. Oh, actually, what it means is I want the Giant Killer, right? Still can't see my actual sideboard. Are we Thoughtseizing Wrath? Are we Thoughtseizing Wrath Spellbinding Angel or Thoughtseizing Angel Spellbinding Wrath? I think we're Thoughtseizing Angel Spellbinding Wrath. Yeah, I think Angel's the better of the two cards. I think it doesn't matter. Knight, that's how it goes. Heh.
Kinda crashed and burned here.
And then this is a land and this is an angel. Well, so this is a Baneslayer. Do I want to counter on this? I don't think so. Not badly enough to pay 4 life. Well, they have Baneslayer here. Is Baneslayer enough for them to not die? It buys them a turn. They have to chump block Death Shadow. Yeah, they gotta dig for Wrath of God here, right? Maybe they're supposed to pay the life on Adanto to make it so they'd take 4 more, so they'd be dead to this. Just a reminder that WOG is a slur and not to use it in my chat. That's true. If I go to 2, we die to Helix is relevant and probably a reason not to do that. Yeah, that's true. Sweeper would have been much better against us. Yeah, it's right not to pay there. And obviously it worked out, so it had to have been right? If you're American, you're probably not familiar with it. It's one that's commonly used in the UK. Wellspring, so probably Niv, could be food. Food's probably not a great matchup for us for a creature deck. I think I want to go Knight into Adanto. Paying 4 here to put a counter on the Knight. Confirmed Jund food. Food deck's a very tough matchup for fair creature decks like what we're playing. Yeah, it's not just Claim the Firstborn that makes these matchups hard for us, though. Mayhem Devil is decent against us. Cat Oven is good against us. No Land Tier is pretty brutal. Yeah, we're just super dead. I don't know, I'm just gonna concede. I don't have good interaction here, and their deck is very polarized against ours. If you look at the Meta Monday report from this past week, the Jund Food deck was the second most played deck, and if you take a peek at the matchup matrix, it has all 70-30 matchups for the most part. It's either very good or very bad against things. There isn't much middle ground. Panic Feel Good. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Yes. Jund crushes mid-range decks with small creatures in them. Generally speaking. Double Panic. If 2 panics follow in the course of 10 seconds like that, now we just need a disco, chat. I mean, there's nothing wrong with enjoying a deck like... There's nothing wrong with enjoying the Jund Food deck. Like, people... It's always... What's something that's always funny to me about card game players is, like, when I do something like that where I describe the Jund Food deck as being polarizing, that's not me saying you can't enjoy it, or you shouldn't like it, or it needs to be removed from the game. It's just me being descriptive. Like, calling a deck that is mostly 70-30 matchups polarizing is just an accurate descriptor of what it is. Tombbound Lich. Alright, chat, I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad man. Duh. Hey, I'm gonna Skyclave Apparition this and smack them. Alright, so Giant Killer's probably great. Vanishing Verse and Dire Tactics, probably great. Skyclave Apparition probably isn't particularly exciting in this matchup. Guidemother sounds fine. Probably trim a Ranger, expecting this to not be a super grindy matchup. The Bard Legends deck we played yesterday in Standard 22 had absolutely no right to be as good as it was. I was expecting it to be a dumpster fire that I didn't upload to YouTube, but I wanted to try it just so we could say we had tried it, and it was so fantastic. It started Gruul, and then we built Naya, and it was really sweet. Pokemon Unite does release today. I might poke at it a little off stream, and then if it seems fun, put it on the schedule for an afternoon next week. Sure. Discard spells and a threat. The deck seems great when I play the lands correctly. Well, I wasn't expecting our Inquisition to miss on turn 1. Deal, I guess? World Shaper is kind of a neat card in their deck. It mills them into things to reanimate, but also like ramps you into things too, which is neat. Well, that's heckin' rude. I guess we'll take that one. Look at chat. Big giant creatures to reanimate, settle the wreckage. Opponent's just here to juke people. Who are we to tell them they're wrong? You know what's kind of funny? The Hive of the Eye Tyrant exiles their stuff. Yeah, this is a good pickup. Means if they hit a land drop this turn, we can hold it up for Shieldred. Alright, well now I'm glad that we took their creature out of the bin. Shame that doesn't die to Vanishing Verse. Boom, thanks for the follow, by the way, if you're still here. This is a nice one. So we'll take their journey away. We'll play this and we'll pass. The new slap lands are very good. Yes. Accurate statement. I'm not 100% certain the adventure creature is good in this deck. We need to play some more games with it, but I'm definitely going to be updating the list on my site to have some Hive of the Eye Tyrants in it. The menace on this card is very, very silly. Got me. I think Hive of the Eye Tyrant or the Bugbear Den are probably the best creature lands out of Zendikar. Do you have any plans to try Pioneer? Nope. Pioneer does not have any particularly compelling gameplay to be worth playing Magic Online. Magic Online content is significantly less popular than Magic Arena content, and the only reason I do Moto for Modern is because Modern lets me play Kiki Chord and offers a lot of really unique play patterns. I don't even know about the quality of the format. It's just like, there just doesn't really seem to be a good reason to play it. Well, I think we just take this hit, right? What do I get punked by taking this hit? Out of Abzan. Thanks for the third of a year, Blue Mage Jack. Welcome back. Othakaya. Sign in Blood. Wide scheming. Thanks for the follow. Good morning, good morning. Historic is a similar power level to Pioneer, and it's on Arena. I don't know if that's true anymore. I think pre-Strixhaven Archives, that was probably accurate, but I think Historic's probably higher power level at this point. Thanks for the Prime Industrious. Welcome back. Yeah, Sanskrit. I mean, for the record, a format being lower power level isn't an inherently bad thing. My not wanting to play Pioneer has nothing to do with the particular context of the format and everything to do with the platform that it's on. If Pioneer existed on Arena, I'd almost certainly make content for it. Oops, that was almost a disaster. Yes, in fact, in terms of power level and fun, Standard 22 is a great comparison. Standard 22 is a lot of fun. So we just take Omen of the Sea and hope to punk him here a little bit. That's rude. No land is great. That is a fantastically concise summary, Springsbug. Generic power level is much less important than the play patterns of the powerful decks. Could not have said it better myself. Alright, no land Wrath of God. Technically not land Wrath of God. Request granted, Hogland. So, Noodle puts them to 8. Hitting my face is an interesting play. Meant they were dead to a removal spell. And now, unfortunately, we die to the second Yorion. Okay, so... Huh. I guess Grasp is probably fine. Fracture might be okay. Skyclave Apparition's actually kind of okay here, right? Selfless Savior sounds good. Faerie Guidemother is probably not great. Let me trim 2 of these. This is the Tier 2 Phoenix lands and the 44 months. That's so long. Welcome back. Thanks. Thanks, Wizards. I appreciate you. You did the right thing. Good chap. Cheerio, mate. Thank you. I appreciate it. Good job. Thumbs up, gold star. Have a heart, people making the ban list decisions. Thanks. All right, let's play some more Magic. To be honest and say that the metrics don't indicate that memory lapse is too good. You can want it to be too good, but the metrics don't currently indicate that. When's the effective date? July 22nd, tomorrow morning. I'm really confused. But I just like mulliganed looking for Leyline of Sanctity and then conceded when they didn't have it. Well, Brainstorm was never card advantage. For the record, it's card selection. Can someone update the ban list command? This is definitely the danger of this line. Now they have a 4-4 and I put myself to 8. So the 2 months bacon, welcome back. Suspend means no wild cards, this is correct. Why do you get no wild cards, you ask? Because fuck you, that's why. So I have to play this out, because if I don't play this out, they attack me for 2. Honestly, we probably just lose to the Yorion, right? Yeah, we're just dead to noodle. Thanks for the 23 months, Flute Mana. Pixels don't grow on trees. I am fairly convinced at this point the suspend list only exists because WOTC wants to be anti-consumer. There's really no other reason for it, right? Have they ever suspended a card and then not banned it? Yeah, a couple of times. They could also ban something and just unban it. There's no reason they can't do that, chat, other than corporate greed. It's 26 months, Joe. Welcome back. Master, thanks for the 9 months. It is difficult to measure the cost of things like giving people more wild cards. In my opinion, one of the things Wizards of the Coast consistently does wrong is they don't understand that giving your players a little bit of something for free builds good faith and encourages them to spend more money. So whoever at Wizards of the Coast makes the decision seems to... Whoever at Wizards of the Coast makes their decision seems to think that whenever you give someone a wild card, you automatically lose money that people would have otherwise spent on those wild cards. And I think that that's a very foolish position to have. But I'm not the one with the spreadsheets in charge of the books, so what do I know? Alright, at any rate, I actually think this matchup's quite good for us. We got a bunch of discard spells, we got a bunch of cheap removal. We want to just, like, pull the curve down, like, Elite Spellbinder's not great here. And probably pull Adanto Vanguard out. Actually, Adventurer is probably not good enough because it doesn't really trade in combat properly with a lot of their stuff. I want to keep these because I can search up Giant Killer and it can let us jump up on occasion. Have a good one, Scout. Seems very good. Well, Inquisition on 1 off the Concealed Courtyard, and then on 2 we'll shock Thoughtseize Knight and get a counter on Knight. We'll do a proper read through their reasoning for all of their changes in a second after we finish this deck. Does losing Brainstorm make Phoenix unplayable? Well, no. I think suspension of Brainstorm will have a meaningful impact on Historic. Yeah, we'll talk about it in a minute. Don't do it. It will just upset you. Don't read it. It'll just upset you. Is it not better to jam and see if they block? Given they're never gonna do that, Weebos. Like, Magic players so often like to oh, I can get my opponent if they make a mistake. Just stop wasting time. Just take your play and assume your opponent has a brain. It's fine. I promise it's okay to assume they have a brain. They basically said, Phoenix isn't even good, y'all are dumb for playing. Oh my god, I'm really hoping you are being a pedantic Magic player and that's not remotely close to what was said. Please, please someone tell me that that's not accurate. It's a good draw. Oh, I should have attacked first. I missed a damage because we gained a life with Noxious Grasp. Okay. Are they holding up protection for Duress? Looks like it, huh? They have like Dovin's veto? Because like they had a Selfless Savior in the bin, right? So they could have cast this? Really? Can they give Lurrus +5 here? We're gonna find out. Maybe. They definitely could. Hit me, dealer. Man, are we gonna be one short? Oh, they have veto though, right? Is what we're putting them on? Okay, so we need to draw Thoughtseize or Inquisition. Their last card is 1000% Dovin's Veto, so I'm just gonna chill. They drew Spell Pierce. Vomit. Pretty sure their last card is Veto. A few draws that are lethal here. Yeah, that'll do it. And tough beat. Like I said, I think that matchup's pretty decent for us on average. We stumbled on land, and then Lurrus was able to put us in a box there, unfortunately. Their counter spells also very instrumental there. Yeah, the top of their deck was decent too, but their counter spells also helped for sure. Sure. I saw it and it was scary. Thanks for the 18 months, Berkey. And come back. I don't think they would have vetoed the push. So I didn't push because I didn't think it was a good play. So I think the odds of them vetoing there were low. Alright, don't deck in stone me, opponent. Have a heart. And I don't really care about my rank. I just don't really want to play against Brainstorm anymore. You know, in fact, let's just call it a day on this deck. Let's read through the reaction. I think I'm gonna update the list on my site to have the Adventure Dorko in it for now. We didn't really get it to play in a ton of games, but I think it seems good in theory. At a minimum, I think Hive with the Eye Tyrant is definitely great. If you want to play something else in this slot, feel free. But I always kind of felt like when I was playing this archetype, I had like one more slot that I wasn't super happy with. And this being a threat that can hammer own life total with Tomb of Annihilation. And the control matchups, that's also decent in the aggressive matchup because it trades off as a pseudo removal spell, seems good. So I'm going to update the list on the site to be reflective of this one.